The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3. Welcome to In 3. I'm Danielle Graham.
And I'm Callie.
And you are?
Cat Nat!
Yes, you are.
Perfect.
We have known you guys for a very long time. It has been amazing to see everything you've done. I mean, you're authors, you're touring queens, you're podcast superstars. Did we miss anything?
I think you hit it.
Yeah. What would your byline say if you were describing yourselves or introducing yourselves to the world? What would you say?
I was just thinking of all those things you just said, and what I really feel like is just like an Uber driving mom.
Literally.
Like that's how I feel like I identify with myself right now.
I feel like it's like you have to step out of being a mom to realize what you do. Cause online's so weird. You have to step out of the world to realize what you do. Cause online's so weird. It's like one way. Online's like one way. It's not a two-way street.
And it's been such a long journey of transition for everything that we've done. It is hard to explain, even to this day, what we do.
Because it's changed again. Doesn't it always change? Once a week it changes, I feel like, with the internet.
No, but I love, you guys are like the queens of the pivot. You're the queens of sort of like multitasking, and you don't need to niche down. I think that's such an archaic perspective on branding and on marketing.
Totally.
and on business. You guys are all of those things, and you do them so well. Why would you, why would you change
We'd
it?
get bored otherwise.
That's the other thing is that this kind of work just happens to suit our personalities perfectly. Even before we were doing this in our lives, that's how we were. We were never really committed to one way or doing one thing. And what keeps us excited is constantly brand new things and changing. And if we've done something for too long, we get bored.
Totally.
Right.
Fair enough.
That makes sense. I could see that you guys could get bored easily. On to the next.
Yeah.
Very.
Switch it up.
Yeah, that's why it's so good kids grow,
Yeah.
They age. They're not the same. It's so good they get different. You're like, thank God you've changed. This was a long phase.
Yes.
I'm bored of the old version.
Yeah. I need a new version of you. Let's go.
So let's talk about sort of how long we've all known each other. And so for me with you guys, we go back about 10 years at the very impetus of your Cat and Natness.
Yeah.
I found you guys via a newsletter when I was working on TV and was trying to look for talent. And you guys came on the show that I was producing, and that's how I met you.
And Natalie couldn't breathe or talk. She thought she was going to die. We had to go get naturopath Bach flowers for your, you had to drop them in your mouth before you went.
For going on TV.
What is this? You were nervous?
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember
What?
that.
I didn't tell you. I was like, oh my God, I'm sweating. Oh my God, I'm so hot. I can't, oh my God, there's gonna be people there. Oh God. And I was like, let's just get Bach flower. Cause I didn't have real drugs at the time.
Now we know, but know better, do better.
But yeah, I remember when Callie called us, it was actually right around this time. I was in the Cape and we got this email, and we knew that show was coming out.
Yeah.
And you were a producer, and we had never done anything like that. And we were like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And then we had to do an audition. Oh my God, at some studio.
Sorry.
I was also shooting my pants for that. And then, coming on the show. Yeah, I was like, I'd never done anything. So I was sort of.
Nice deal, Natalie. She's like, oh God, I have natural drugs built into me.
Mm-hmm.
So now are you still in shitting your pants territory? Because I imagine
No.
for me, the idea of a tour would paralyze me in my tracks. No, now you're good.
Oh no, I shit my pants for other reasons, but not because I'm nervous to go on stage.
Onion rings, to be specific.
Fried food.
Oh, fried food will do it.
We get that.
We get it.
that. I mean, since then, you guys have gone on to build such big brands and careers. It's been amazing to watch you do that. And it's amazing to come full circle today.
Yay.
I interviewed you guys when I was pregnant. Exactly. And you brought me some toys for my baby who's going to be 9 next week. So.
Oh my gosh, your husband was there. We met your husband because he worked there too.
No
That's
way.
right. Oh, I love that you remember that.
I remember.
Yeah, good times. And look at us now.
Look at us now.
No.
I don't know where we are, but
we're all just sitting in our houses.
I was going to say, I don't know what to
Figuring it
call
out.
it, but we're doing this, and it's a great era.
It is.
I like
It is
that.
It's
It's a good era.
Besties, bestying, businessing, girl bossing, and having a good time doing it. And I feel like hooray for us.
Hooray for
Hooray.
us. Yeah.
I like that. Hooray for us.
Celebrities have given us a lot to talk about in terms of some family drama and some family dynamics that have been happening. And because you are mom truths, you are realness, you are hot takes, we want to get your takes on some of the celeb drama that's been going on, if you're down. So I don't know if you're following
down.
So down.
Yeah.
Because you guys say yes. Down. Yes. What's the worst that could happen? So the Beckham family, have you followed this story at all? We can give you a quick upload.
I'm like, do you want to be in the spot? Like, do you want this? Who's perpetuating this and why? What are we trying to sell right now? That's what this feels like right now. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I kind of feel like it's kind of, maybe, do you want to give it, for those listening, do you want to give a background
Yes.
of what we're talking about?
At the crux of the issue is that Brooklyn Beckham married a woman named Nicola, right? And Nicola, we know historically, since the wedding or even before that, has had issues and has not gotten along with his mom, Victoria Posh Spice Beckham, right? So this has been an issue. We've heard about rumblings since the wedding, since Brooklyn married Nicola, that Victoria and Nicola don't get along. But we didn't really know exactly the specifics. Then came this sort of issue between the brothers where Romeo is now dating this girl, Kim, who the world tells us Brooklyn also dated her. And then that's what sort of like reignited the family drama where they were saying that Brooklyn had an issue with Romeo because of this ex-girlfriend, Kim, that Romeo is now dating. So good. Okay. So that brings us to today, where the headlines have been plentiful about the Beckham drama, that Brooklyn and Nicola have distanced themselves completely from the rest of the family, that they're not attending events for their parents, they're not wishing their mom well on Mother's Day. And in fact, Brooklyn is going out there and making all kinds of weird declarations on social media, telling the world that he chooses his wife always over everyone else.
And Nicola is a billionaire.
Yes.
Right.
Let's
That
not
is
forget
actually an
that
important
key
It is a-
detail.
You're right. That's an
Very
important
big detail. Yes.
And
He
that,
doesn't work.
well, he's a chef, okay? And he's coming out with some new chef stuff, and I love watching.
Yeah.
I think Nicola's backing it.
You know, what's kind of like sad about the whole thing is was it just like the Beckham documentary that came out, like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah.
And
Should've done it.
watching it was like, I love that family. You know, when they all got together in the kitchen, they were cooking and everyone was so cool with each other. And it was like,
Yeah.
this feels like it felt at the time like a family that has been through so much fame. And like, you know, with David cheating, but then getting back together, I felt like, oh, this is such a nice, close, lovely family that these headlines are really disappointing. And the part about what Mark Anthony introduced
Victoria.
Posh as the most beautiful woman in the room at Nicola's wedding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that she's pissed about that. That doesn't, I mean, if Nicola's like making such a big deal about that, there's got to be something more to the story.
Then we have her number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but is that real?
Apparently that's real.
But
I
it's
mean,
real
I mean, who knows what's real and what's like, you know, fodder for the tabloids, but that's what the story is. And no one said it isn't true. So no one's coming out there and saying like, that's absolutely not true. We know that there was tension, and maybe Nicola is the kind of girl who needs that much attention and is that sensitive. First of all, your mom is Victoria motherfucking Beckham. Okay. Like, she should be celebrated, and you should be cool with that.
Yes,
You should be super cool with that.
totally.
But how old are they?
Young.
I mean,
20s.
yeah,
20s.
par for the course. Like, we are gonna par for the freaking course. What's gonna happen is something's gonna happen, and he's gonna, because he grew up in a good family. It's not like he grew up in a family where they weren't close, and it's sort of like Harry and William right now. You know what I mean? Where it's like, eventually you're like, I miss my family.
Yeah.
Eventually, unless there is some real terrible thing, but you can't just have a wife. Like, it's just not.
Right.
It's not when everyone starts having cousins and kids and like Christmas or whatever you celebrate. I think that it's a very sad existence, especially when your parents get older and you've missed out on so much. I think he'll come to his senses. Whether they work out or not, I mean, I'm not
I'm
sure.
not particularly impressed with her if she's making him choose between the family two, because I remember seeing like candid videos with Victoria, and she's actually a really funny, fun, like
Yes,
real
she's a
kind
good
of
time.
She's
lady.
cool.
She is cool and she's fun. So, and Brooklyn seems pretty like chill, and yeah, we might either have to get rid of her or she's gonna have to swallow it up and be
And
like,
it's very real that they don't like her, Nicola. Like the family doesn't like her, and they said
Yeah.
so. Like, this is a bad decision. Don't do this. That's a very real possibility. And he was like, I'm making my decision. They're like, okay. So there might be tension that we don't know about. But, at the end of the day, he's a grown up and he's going to do what he wants to do. And he'll miss his family. He will miss them.
yeah, for sure.
They're calling it a hostage situation.
Oh
that
my
like
Nicola
brain
has-
lost.
right. She's
Yeah.
got him at hostage. Yes. Yes,
Seems
we need
like
to
a very happy hostage.
we need to kidnap him and get him back. Let's
We
get
need
him.
to get. So how does that happen? Like from your perspective, like knowing about family dynamics and all of the things and being amazing moms, like what would you say needs to happen in order to bridge the gap?
Oh, like go on family trips and like post photos and like make them so jealous of your amazing family that they're like, I miss laugh and do like photo shoots of like professional
Everyone together.
yeah, like on
Without you.
yeah, and be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, have a few babies and like
I like
Christmas
that.
is so extra. And you're like, oh, we miss
So
and then
go
text
petty.
them, we miss you so much. Like I hope everything's okay. I love you.
It's not the same without you, but
It's
we
not
still
the
have a
same.
fabulous
Yeah,
time.
life is amazing.
And then just a bit of time.
I'm joking, by the
Oh,
way.
I actually thought that mixed with time would be perfect. If I saw my family all out there doing like so many fun things without me, I would feel really left out.
Same.
I think as a mom, you just constantly show up and you say, I love you. I know we're not in the right place right now, but I love you.
And I'm always here when you're
here
ready.
for you. Yeah.
And the question that I have is like, as moms with kids that are going to be dating at some point or are dating, or I don't know where your kids are at in that sort of stage. But do you as a mom, and this is for you too, like just swallow your pride if you really dislike
No.
your
Oh, I
kid's
don't.
person, or you make it known?
I mean, I think I have a very good judge of character. So, I mean, you have to have a good judge of character. You have to know your, can we swear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to know your own shit and why you don't like the person. Is it for you or for them? And I think that
Right.
you have to be at peace with whatever decision they make, but you can say, I have reservations because of, but I will always stand by you because I trust that you make the right decisions. But if my kid is dating someone and they're toxic or terrible, I will absolutely point out the reasons why they're terrible. And I hope they don't date people, but we all make bad decisions sometimes and it might happen. And
That sentence was she said, I hope they don't date people. She meant bad people.
bad people. I hope I don't date those people. They might, and I will make sure I say something nicely
that
and
would be hard.
supportively.
What do you think about Brooklyn Beckham taking her name? He's Brooklyn Peltz Beckham. What do you think about that name mix-up?
I think I kind of like I kind of like that someone's actually doing that, because I always say, like, I gave my kids are half me and half my husband, so they shouldn't have his last name without having mine. And it's a long last name and it's not convenient for jerseys, but why would they be him and not be me? That made no sense to me. And so they're going to be in a situation later in life where they're coming with a hyphenated name, potentially marrying someone with a hyphenated name. We're going to have to get creative, how they're going to end up doing it. And I absolutely, him taking her last name kind of seems like that makes sense. I don't.
But
still,
is it also a symptom of her kind of being the controlling in the relationship? Like being, I don't know, like, of course, the feminist in me wants to be like, yeah, this is amazing. Obviously, this should be common and normal, but it's not. It's not common and normal. But like, is this potentially a symptom of her being like, this is what I want, and like, I don't care, and him being like, kind of the beta?
Oh my gosh, I want to talk to his friends.
I do feel like he's a symptom though of probably a child who grew up in a micro bowl and never left the family. So he was a Beckham and no one has a Beckham. He's probably rebelling just a little late, and I feel like he's probably trying to find out who he is. with marriage and changing his name to separate from like what that was. So they all have, everyone has to go through that. It just feels like this is an extreme case of it. But
Yeah.
I feel like, he obviously needs to separate, which is fine because I feel like they are very close, and that can be really hard too if you don't know who you are as a person, right? To go and find out what you are, who you are without the Beckham last name. Like he must feel like every time he walks in as a Beckham. We have a few hockey players who are famous in Toronto, and people will go and just watch their kids skate to see if they're like them. Like just because they're
Wow.
obsessed
Whoa.
with
That's
the last
gross.
name. And if they
Weird.
don't compare, they're not as good as them. You can imagine at 9 years old what like brutality they're facing from just a different name and every scrutiny that goes on them. So I think part of it is they were so famous. The documentary came out, everything about their life was there. I'd probably want to change my name too. Like just give me a moment to not be a Beckham.
Fair enough.
Maybe like a little autonomy. That's all he's looking for.
I kind of feel like because he can't be a
Yeah.
bad kid coming from a great family.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're a great family. I think they're as close to normie as they could be for being the most mega famous.
Totally.
Let's move on to Harry and Meghan. I see Kat just shaking her head. Okay. what do we
My
got?
son is watching Suits right now, like obsessed with Suits. So she's on my TV all the time right now, and it's so weird because you're watching her knowing what she like. It's such a disconnect because she was such an independent person and like such a powerhouse as a woman, and now she's like a homemaker, which is fine, but just not the same brand. It's like the brand switched, and it's like you don't know who she is. It's like you're like, whoa, like who are you?
Yeah, like I
Who
kind
are
of,
you?
I never really wanted to, overjudge the situation because I would have no idea what it's like to marry royalty. I would have no idea what it's like to be in the
Spotlight.
in the paparazzi, the British paparazzi. It sounds like it's hell, so I'd never know what that's like. But I was when her show came out, everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch that. I love that kind of stuff. I love like, home shows, anything like Martha Stewart-ish. I love cooking. I love all that. So I was excited to be pleasantly surprised and maybe like kind of fall for her a little bit. And then I watched the episodes and I was like, what even, I'm not getting like, even when I look back on it, I think about some weird things like when she had someone who was one of her best friends, but she didn't really know anything about his life or like where he lived or what his apartment looked like. And I didn't get a strong sense of who she was. And I really wanted that because if I'm going to take advice on anything in my home or in my life, I want the person to be sure about themselves. And I didn't sense that she was coming on as like strong or consistent in any part of her brand. So I was like disappointed.
You know what's weird though? I feel like actors and TV hosts, which you probably know so much about, have a hard time being who they are because they're so used to being a character. Like it's really hard to like get it out of them because you guys are so trained to be a certain way. To just be who you are is kind of a flip, right? And I don't know if everyone knows
That's an
how
interesting take.
to get that out of you because we've been hired to be with people who are hosts to try to crack them, like to try to get them to become more like people rather than a figure. And I don't know how many people, when you're trained to be one way, know how to authentically be themselves. I don't know if they know how to do that. So I think that's part of the problem. I think she's probably very different behind closed doors. And we want to judge who we see on TV. And I'm not sure she can let go of the training that she's had forever of like, and then she stepped into a role of a royal and you also have to be a different person again. And then, so I don't know if we know her for real.
Yeah.
I don't think we know her as Harry knows her and why they fell in love. Because she was deeply private in Toronto too. Like she was fiercely private.
You're right. I say the same thing. Like, I think in one of our conversations about it previously, I said, like, I want to know the Meghan that Harry fell in love with.
Yeah.
Because we know that Harry's like charming and fun and he's like a party boy and he's lovely and everybody loves him. But then we see Meghan, she's so sterile and she's so like everything neutral, everything beige, personality beige. But you're right. Like that could be just this thing that she kind of has to unlearn, which is that she's, been media trained to be beige. And now everyone's like, be vibrant. And she's like, trying to figure out how.
And
Yes.
it's really vulnerable to be yourself because you're judged even harder. At least if you're beige and they judge you, you're like, that's not me, but go crazy. It's sort of like when you meet your favorite actor on a show, you know, like, and then you meet them in real life and you're like, oh, I like this
That's
character.
disappointing.
I like the character. I don't like you.
And that's what's
Right.
hard now is that she's coming out with her brands that are supposed to be like not another character's name, but Meghan Markle. And I mean, she would have all the money and all the everything to make her brands be super successful. But now we are so trained to like to see through things. And when someone's not consistent, then we don't trust it. And so these things just don't, they're not hitting hard because we're not seeing consistently who this person is to fall in love with their brands and what they like and to follow them. Like she's supposed to be influencing. She's, you know.
And Harry is authentically himself.
Oh,
That's all.
yeah.
But that's what's gotten him so in trouble. So I feel like they are probably very, very different. And she is too afraid to like, why would she want to show any part of her when all she's been is hammered with hate for being even beige? Like being beige has gotten her like, you know,
The other thing is I was recently just like joking with like a friend and we were like, you know, saying something about our husbands being like, you know, and she's like, well, we knew what we were getting ourselves into, I guess, right? I'm like, well, how long did you date him before you married him? And she's like a year or something. I was like, I dated mine for a year and a half long distance. Did I really know what I was getting myself into? Like Meghan and Harry didn't really live a real life before they got married. Yes, they're in love, and yes, it might be the love of their life forever, but did either of them really know what they're getting themselves into? Like, they could be looking at each other right now and being like, oh,
Who is this person?
Like, shit. Well, Harry's like, I kind of want to go home, and I can't go home now after I did all this.
He's pot committed at this point, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he can't.
Yeah, and if you're listening, like if you have a child with someone in another country, you're screwed. Like you're not leaving. Like you can't divorce. Like you are stuck in that country where that child lives.
Yeah,
He can't go home.
My husband's screwed. He can't go home. He's American, and we had our family here and our kids here, and he can never go home.
He can't.
He's stuck.
Just some life advice
Good
for
one.
y'all out there.
That's good, like practical logistical advice.
Yes,
These are things to consider when we create our families.
And when you move. Watch
And
when
when you move. Do you think, if you had a chance to sit down with Meghan and give her some advice, what would you say to her about being authentic? Because so much of your success, if not all of it, has come from you being authentic and hitting people with your authenticity and then receiving it and feeling seen and feeling validated and being like, yes, I am you. I thank you so much for highlighting the realities of life. Do you think you would tell her the same? Like, girl, give people some real and it might just work.
I feel like that's all she has left for herself.
Like, how would you get that out of her?
I don't think you have to. I don't think she does. I don't think she has to. I think that, well, I know she, I think that it comes with, you know, the internet's mean. Like, it's mean. Like, it's you, if you're sensitive, you're better to be a character. And you're better to, like, just be, she's on such a different scale than we are. And we have such a lovely audience. Like Nat said, the UK is a whole different beast. And, you know, his mom died from basically the scrutiny. And I think she's probably towing the line between everything. And they have such a different history than us. And I think, you know, I think she should go back to acting and just probably like, just do you, boo, and go where you're happy. Because I think authenticity doesn't mean who you are. It means where you align and what makes you happy, right? Like you don't have to be something to be authentic, but make sure you're living authentically so that if it's doing a cooking show and you wanted to do that, that's great. And if you don't want to show your true colors, that's cool. But like, you know what I mean? I don't think everyone has to give authenticity. I don't think it's a given. And I think that it's not a choice. I think you do or you don't.
Yeah, you do or you don't. And I think for her, like, obviously because she had such an audience, maybe she thought putting herself out there to be herself and be like, let's just call it an influencer because I don't know what else, like, she's just trying to be her, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody is meant for that job.
Right.
Like she's saying, like
100%.
you were great. Maybe you were really good at playing characters, but maybe yourself is saved for your friends and your family inside of your house.
And she has a team of people. Like there is a team. Like this is not just her waking up and being like, I'm gonna turn a camera on. Like there is a whole like machine behind this, right? So I mean, I
And they're saying everyone's quitting left, right, and center
I was
for
just
working
gonna say,
because maybe they're discovering this isn't right for her. This isn't where we're going to find our big success. Let's move on to like another kind of a business because this is trying to make something happen that isn't authentically happening.
What do you make of this rift between Harry and his dad? So obviously some things did not go Harry's way and what he wanted in terms of protection in the UK. And his dad, he claims, could have helped get him what he needs to be able to go back and feel safe with his family. And in that same interview, he said, you know, I don't know how much time my dad has left. He's really sick. I'd like to reconcile. In this world, so now we know that Harry's gone on and told the world all the family business in tell-all books and with Oprah and spilling all this stuff is
very
awful.
authentic.
Very real.
Yeah.
Very real.
He's very good at that.
Right.
And he's looking for reconciliation. How does that happen? If you could play mediator amongst the royal family, how would you try to get them back together in some way?
Don't you want a camera in that castle? Don't you feel like it's such a business? Like, don't you
Yes,
feel like
totally.
I feel like he's just called bullshit, but they're a business. They make money. Like that
Yes.
family makes money. Like they make money on being a family. So it's not like it's a reality of, they're not like a family. They're a family of business, if that makes sense. And I feel like, I don't know how many emotions they all have over there because it feels like, I don't know. It's pretty wild. And I think Harry's probably really hurt, was always like, never knew he was always down here. He was told he didn't have the same father. Like, it's not his father. The dad probably knows the truth about that, right? I'm going to assume, if it is or if it isn't. Do we think that?
wow.
Do we think
I mean, the photo, it's hard to ignore the side-by-side
It
photo.
is really hard
It
to
is
ignore
impossible to ignore Harry's alleged real father.
So you think that that's playing into this rift? That like if they all felt like he was biologically Charles's, that Charles would fight harder?
I feel like he grew up in a different reality than William. And if you have two children, one was always on a pedestal and won't crack.
Right.
This one's unhinged and has been dying to like get attention or like, you know, has just been wild. And his mom was the anchor between the two of them. You never saw the closeness between these two ever. Like they never really, like, you never saw he like left, Harry left and like has always been doing his own thing.
Or is it also that Harry might be built different? Like, you
Yes.
know, you talk about the fact that like William and Charles and the family is so business, but Harry's a feeler. Like he's a sensitive Sally. So
Yes.
like, I feel like maybe that's a part of it. He was like, I don't know how to do this robotic thing that you're doing. I
Yes.
love this woman. She's like feels abused. She's really sad. So like we gotta
And William
gotta
has
go.
no
And
choice.
now they can't reconcile those things.
William is bred to be what he is. He doesn't
Right,
crack.
you're right.
His wife's got like
Purebred.
cancer and he shows up to like the Easter parade. Like anyone
Yeah.
else would be like, my wife's sick. I gotta
I'm
go
gonna take the day off.
They can't.
I would say the
Yeah.
first thing that they need to do is like stop making any of their comments public. Like Harry, if you want to reconcile and you want to, can you just like, we know that you guys can get a private plane, end up in the same place with a therapist who can have you guys have a conversation. But you know, if you really want it to be real, just stop talking to everybody else about it.
Great place to start. Just zip the lip.
Zip
That's
it.
right. And
Yeah.
that's where he makes mistake after
Yes.
mistake. It's like
That's
you can't
why we
have one.
love him, guys.
Yeah.
That's
That's
why we
right.
love him. And he's gonna keep doing it. We love him for
Yeah.
that.
You can't go to the media, tell all the family
No.
business, and in that interview say, I'd love to reconcile.
Yeah.
But look at his mom. His mom was the same way. Like, you know what? He just lives
You're right.
he lives on the edge, and I kind of respect him for it. And he has zero fucks. And he's like, I love you, love me. And I don't think they know how to love him as he is because he's too much of a liability to their business.
Do you think he's homesick? Do you think he misses his family and traditions and culture?
I think he misses what he thinks it could. You always have a different perception of, like, you miss what you want it to be, and sometimes when you go home, it's not what it was. So you're disappointed in what you want it to be. But so I think he probably misses what it should be, which is your brother and your dad welcoming you with open arms. But from what we've heard, it was not the most lovey-dovey. Like it was meetings.
My question is, do you think that Harry and Meghan are endgame?
Yeah, I do.
You do. You think they die on this hill together?
I do.
Not saying no.
I don't think
not
Harry
sure.
would let it be another. I don't think Harry can be wrong in his decision, or he will have lost literally everything.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a terrible place. Like that's tough.
No, I think life is long, and I think that he is he's a unique person, and I think he's got a lot to him, and I don't know if he does stay forever. I think he's going to this is so inappropriate talking about other people's relationships, but I know that's what we do with
This is what we do for a living. So
I feel like he's he's either going to endure it for the rest of forever, but I think he could find something that suits him better if he's able to walk.
I don't know.
I don't know
just
either.
keeps
It's sad though. It's sad. Seeing a family torn apart like that is sad. Like as
really
parents,
is.
I hope
it's
they
sad
figure
to
it out.
see.
I
I hope
hope
they
they
do
do.
too.
Especially in the context of Diana and the sadness that he's had to endure and the trauma. I do hope that he makes it work with Meghan and that they're happy, because he spent so much of his life really suffering emotionally.
Yeah. And his mom would be devastated right now.
Oh my
That's what's
gosh,
so
yes.
sad.
Devastated for her boys to be torn apart like
Yeah.
this would be her worst nightmare.
I feel like that's almost like worth it enough for them to get back together for mom.
I agree.
They will.
Okay, well that's what we need to call them. We need to tell them.
Okay,
I just
That's
don't
the
know.
button to push.
I just don't know if the business is going to let them. You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
think there's more than just like, I bet they miss each other because brothers would miss each other. I just don't know if William's like, I'm about to become king. I can't have you come in here and I have to
Don't
clean.
fuck this up.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is really, because he's doing it for so much more than just himself.
Yeah, and Harry's the liability right now. Can't have you.
Yeah, and not even in a
Running your
bad
mouth.
way. He just talks
No.
about everything. Like, you know what I mean? So he's authentic. It's screwing him. God, poor Meghan. Be more
He's doing what
authentic.
we're asking of them, but not in the right way. Like it's like,
true.
yeah, it's like
It's very hard for
be
them.
careful
Be
what you wish
authentic,
for.
but not that authentic. Bring it
Yeah,
back a
you're
bit.
doing too much.
Yeah.
Do less. Do more. Do less.
Yeah. Poor guy. I feel so badly for them.
I
Hope
know.
they're-
I do too. I really do.
I hope they're happy. You didn't even touch the Biebers. I mean, that's a whole other one right
I
there.
mean, we can have that convo if that's on your mind.
Yeah, we just went to the Justin Bieber Museum in Stratford because we did a thing with Tourism Stratford.
Fun.
Guys, there's all the pictures of him with when he was a little kid on the hockey team with all of his friends. Like it's all of his like yearbooks, and we're like, go back to Stratford, move home.
We said go back to
Yes.
Stratford. We
And
need to go back for a bit.
And they said he doesn't
Great
talk
advice.
to his friends. He had a bunch of best friends, like a crew of best friends, and he doesn't talk to them anymore. They say one of
This
his
is
best
what we were
friends is
just
getting
talking
married.
about. That he's alienated himself from anyone who he has deep roots with.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are going to be there. They're going to tell you what's real, what's not. They're going to hold you accountable. They're going to get you straight.
They're going to love you regardless.
Yeah, and
because
they're
they
gonna
were
love you
there
unconditionally.
from the beginning.
Yeah, they're going to remind you of who you were too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like that
home.
that community is really tight and small, and it's kind of like really lovely. We ended up finding out, and he's just. I said when the last Maple Leaf game that he went to, the way that he dressed. And Haley was like so like us normal Canadians, right? She's got the jersey on. And the way how he dressed, I was like, dude, you forgot. Like, that's not, I understand you have your own style, whatever, but you didn't, like 2 years ago, you look like a normal hockey fan. What are you doing right behind the bench with those glasses? That's so not Canadian. Like, you've really lost the plot here.
Oh, you're right.
It's not who he was. And it's only been a couple of years where he really slipped into whoever he is now. And he's not in a good place. And I think you're right. That piece of going home, there's been a lot of people in the celebrity world who went to LA and moved all over, went back home to those small towns like the Midwest and just were like, I just need a minute here. I need to be in the mountains. I need to be in my people.
I was like, what happens when he's back here? He's like, everyone leaves him alone. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
of course.
does the new, like, do the paparazzi follow? Like, no. And I was like, he needs to go home. So we talk, all the locals know him. And we were saying, they were saying one of his oldest high school friends and like childhood friends was getting married. And we're like, do you think he'll come back? And he's like, I don't think he talks. Like, it's like he doesn't talk to them anymore. They were best friends forever. There was a crew of them. And I was like, that is what he needs.
That's what he needs.
And the problem is when you're surrounded by people you hired or that know you after you got famous, you can never trust their motives. You can never trust their advice because it's either laced with this, ulterior motive of they want to make more money or they want to stay in your good book, so they don't want to tell you who you are right now because they don't want you to cut them out, which he just did with someone. He just released text messages.
Yes, I saw that.
Where he was basically breaking up with a friend because they said to him, like, hey, bro, like, don't treat me that way. And then he said, like, basically, like, you can't tell me not to treat you that way. And so it's like, if you have people from home, their intentions are good.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about, them having ulterior motives. You can just trust that their advice is what you need. And he doesn't have siblings his age, right?
Right.
Like, he only has the young siblings.
Right.
True.
I can't help but wonder, like, if he had, I can't help but wonder, who am I, Carrie Bradshaw? I can't help but wonder.
Show is so bad.
It's so bad. I can't help but wonder if he had a brother or a sister that was closer to his age, like a William or, a Beckham brother, that like maybe he would have someone in his ear.
Yeah.
But would he have cut those people out too?
Well, also, when we were back, he was apparently really close with his grandparents, and his grandfather just died like a few weeks ago. Literally a few weeks ago. And I don't know if he went back to the funeral or not, but like the museum was like, yeah, because they had the wedding invitations. They had everything there. The grandparents would donate a lot of the things for the museum because there was more than just Justin Bieber, but they were like, yeah, he was really close and he just passed away. And they don't know if he came back. And I was like, this is I'm like,
I feel for Haley too. Like, she's a new mom and she seems so normal that she's having to deal with seems like a very unstable. Maybe they're not. Maybe she's I don't know. Cause she must just look at him and be like, oh babe, like I love you. Cause I think she really loves him.
Yeah.
And she's loved him. Like, how can we fix you?
While
I
I'm
hope
trying to raise this baby that we just had. Like, you know what that season looks like. A newborn under one, the stress on your relationship as it is. She's got big projects and businesses. And he's out here just like smoking bongs.
And where's his mom? Where's his mom?
Where's Patty? I don't know.
Where is she?
I mean, she might be there. I don't know. But I'm like, it's good for her to be under the radar.
My question is about Patty. Maybe an unpopular opinion or something, people don't talk about, but Patty is the one who sort of gave Justin to Diddy.
Yeah.
What?
She condoned that, right? Like, she allowed him to be in that home. Maybe she didn't know the extent of what was going on over there, who Diddy was. Of course, none of us did. So I'm not saying it's all her fault, but I think maybe there's some mistrust with Justin there. Right. I know that he was cutting people out of his life who were like a part of some of the abuse that he endured. And I wonder if she, made some mistakes as we all do as humans and as parents and as family members, and you try to do the right thing and it turns out to be the wrong thing. But I wonder if he has cut her out because of that.
I feel like that happens with a lot of child stars whose parents, put them into that world.
So in all fairness, she did not. Scooter Braun went after them. That was also the museum, his story, that he was busking and people kept putting his videos online. And then Scooter Braun was like, Scooter Braun.
Sure.
Oh, well, Scooter Braun called and called and said, can you come out? Can you come out? Can you come out? And she was like, and then they went out to LA, and a year later, he had an album.
Yes.
And so it was like...
It's Scooter's claim to fame. But
it's not like
time.
She went and sold him in LA. Like, she didn't move to LA. Scooter was hardcore pursuing him.
Yeah,
and if
totally.
it is your kid's dream...
But I still think, he was a minor. And
yes.
Of course, Scooter, takes a lot of the responsibility for what happened in the early years of his career. But I don't know. There's a part of me that's just like... There might be some because he cut Scooter out too. So there might be a sense of mistrust about all of the people that were there at that time, even though, let's be clear, that Justin's team has said that he was not a victim of Diddy's abuse. This is my speculation based on, what I'm seeing. He's admitting that he's been through trauma, that he's emotionally unwell based on, the stuff that he's seen and the things he's been through. And I don't know, to me that reads, there was a lot of
I think
ugly
when you're
stuff
worth
that happened back then.
So much money and people make so much money off you, it's very, and every decision you made, if you were hurt, it's very hard to reconcile your normal when you are a profitable business at the cost of everything. And I think that's what's so hard is he was probably in a lot of situations he shouldn't have been in because of his fame, but he made a lot of money and people made a lot of freaking money off of him.
Of course.
And he was a business rather than a kid. And I think,
you're right.
That has to be looked at, that he lost his childhood based on adults' decisions where it shouldn't have been. They should have protected his childhood rather than...
Where do you think Haley goes from here?
I think Haley, they're not end game in my opinion. She's going to get fed up of this and going to start to really focus on, she probably already is, on the needs of their son. That's my feeling. This was a question for you guys, not me.
All of you. I mean, I agree this isn't probably the life that she wanted, but I just hope that Biebs figures himself out. Because, like a lot of them, it doesn't end well. And Lindsay Lohan has showed us that you can come out on the other side.
Absolutely.
We want that for
Amanda Bynes is not. You know what I mean?
No.
So I hope he
Brittany.
moves home and goes to a simple life and stops posting on Instagram every single second. That's what I hope.
Because I really like
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
We love
love
him.
him.
We love him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just needs a hard reset.
Yes.
To Control Alt Delete, go home.
He needs to delete the app
Yeah.
of Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, delete.
He
Go off
needs
social
to
media.
Go home, you're right, to his family. And he needs to just be quiet and still with the
Yeah.
people who love him most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, before you go, we got a quick game.
Yeah.
for
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys.
our game.
Our in 3 rapid fire. So we're gonna ask some questions, and you give us, 3 answers.
3 qualities everyone should look for in a best friend.
Oh my God, there's so many. But once someone told us, and I'll tell you guys this, and that can be the 3, that the biggest vulnerability in life is joy, being able to share joy. And most people say LOL or cover their laugh or don't actually laugh.
Or say that was so funny.
Yeah, and I think that when you can be vulnerable with your best friend and have like the most ultimate joy, that's what a best friend is. Someone that's just joyful no matter what. You can get locked in a closet and it's funny,
I love that.
Yeah.
That
I
is
love
perfect.
that. Belly laughs. Belly
Yes.
laughs.
3 biggest mom truths. What are they?
Well, I would say that one thing to know is that they change a lot. So when you get sick of that stage, they will change, and that's great. Also that actually being a mom, even to teenagers, can actually be fun.
That's really
Yeah,
fun.
I like that take.
Like it's
Great.
not, everyone sort of is like, oh, it's going to be terrible when you
Yeah.
have teenagers. We're like, of course there are things, but we're loving it and we have fun with them. We go away with them and we're having a good time getting to know them. As older people.
Every sentence you say, like every factual statement, just add for now.
For now.
For now.
For now, good and bad. For now. Things are like this. They're a great student for now. They're a terrible student for now. For now.
It's like when they say I
love
don't
that.
like oysters. I'm like,
For now.
anything can change.
You just say
Life is long.
Ever evolving.
Yeah.
3 tips for keeping your marriage spicy when you have kids.
Well, you tell us.
Yeah, I got
I have
nothing.
no kids, so my marriage
Well, that-
stays spicy.
That's what I was going to say. That's why I'm like, you tell
I'm
us.
just kidding.
Don't
That's a
have kids.
myth. That's a myth. That just because you don't have
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
means it's spicy all the time. It's still marriage.
Yeah.
Still marriage.
It's still marriage.
I
So
mean, I
maybe
don't think
just
we're gonna-
3.
I don't think we're going to go on the record for being knowing the secret sauce to a spicy relationship.
I'm sure our husbands would love us to be experts in that. We are not there yet.
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 Yeah.
Yes,
not there
but ever
yet.
evolving.
Yet.
There's time.
For now.
For now.
For now.
Tired for now.
That's perfect.
You ladies are the best. Okay, tell us, Cat Nat Unfiltered, when and where can we get it?
Everywhere.
The
It feels like
podcast,
everywhere.
yeah.
It's everywhere.
There's Cat and Nat everywhere.
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 All day, every day, everywhere.
That's right.
Everywhere.
You are everywhere and you are everything. This was everything.
For now.
Thank you.
For now, ever evolving. Love you guys so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on the pod and making us laugh and just being the bright lights that you are.
Thank
Yes.
you for having us.
Beautiful reunion.
So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Mwah.
Ah.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for
Bye,
listening.
guys.